USA, get your act together. I live in Australia, and you might think I have no business sticking my nose into the politics of the USA. But the reality is that we in Australia, and indeed everyone throughout the world, has an enormous stake in who becomes president of the United States. We have a stake in it, but absolutely no say. And that is very frustrating. It's even more frustrating given that people in America often refer to their president as the leader of the free world. Well, if he's the leader of the free world, I want a say in who that person is going to be. He or she is actually not my leader, and yet has a profound impact upon my life and upon the state of the world in which we live. Those of us outside the United States look on the situation there with a mixture of fascination and horror. It's like watching a train wreck. You know it's terrible, but you just can't take your eyes off it. It's like watching the events on 9/11. Terrible events, but you just can't stop watching it. The United States of America is a train wreck. You have a presidential election coming up there. And seriously, the best that you can offer to yourself, to your people, and to the world is a nice enough man, but one who seems so incredibly fragile on the verge of senility. Or some abhorrent, disgusting slob of a creature that half of the population seems to think is some kind of divine messenger. Do the people of the United States have any idea how ridiculous you look to the rest of the world and how terrifying the prospect of, well, having the slob or even the rather nice but senile man in charge of your country? Is this seriously the best that you can offer? Seriously? To the rest of the world, the United States is looking more and more like a country which simply cannot govern itself. And one side of politics, yes, the Republican side, the Trumpian side, doesn't seem to have any interest at all in doing so. It likes to focus upon, the culture wars, the little issues that are going to terrify people, but has no intention to actually tackle the major issues that face the country or the world. Has absolutely no interest in that. What kind of future does that promise to your country and to the rest of the world when you have a United States that is ungoverned and ungovernable? When Trump lost the last election, I think the rest of the world began to have some kind of hope. Joe seemed like a reasonably nice guy. We all know he's old, and yes, we do think perhaps that he's too old now. But we thought, well, at least we got rid of Trump. Maybe now we can move forward. And I mean we, not just you. But no, Trump is back. And it is absolutely inconceivable to the rest of the world that anybody in the United States could possibly be considering voting for this man. Do you have any idea what it looks like? Well, yes, some of you probably do. The people I meet from the United States who are travelling or have maybe come to live here seem like really reasonable, intelligent people. Is that because the United States of America is actually driving out its reasonable and intelligent people? And what's left behind? I get angry when I watch the situation over there. I find it absolutely incomprehensible. I think perhaps my only hope is that Joe Biden does in fact win, and that at some point during this second term of his presidency he steps down and Kamala Harris takes over as president. Shock horror. I know the United States can't cope with a female president yet, because it's yet to come into the 20th, let alone the 21st century. And let alone, of course, a woman who is somewhat of colour. It's astonishing in this day and age that the United States has such trouble with the idea of a woman leading the country, and a woman of colour at that. But that is my hope, that Joe Biden actually wins, that Kamala Harris comes in. Whether she does a good job or a bad job, it's probably going to be better than either of the present candidates could do. And I hope she would do a good job, and that you would elect her to a term in her own right. And if she hasn't served too long as president when Biden resigns, then maybe give her another term as well. Some stability. Put someone younger, more vigorous, more intelligent in the job, will you? You probably think it's none of my business, but it is my business. And it is the rest of the world's business. America, grow up. Get your act together. Take on the responsibilities that you claim to have, that you claim to have earned somehow. If you're going to claim to be the leaders of the free world, then step up and do the job.